Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the FireStorm Podcast. On today's episode, Trent and I are going to be talking about our favorite YouTube content creators. Trademark, yeah, TM.
Yeah,
obviously.
Of course.
Content creators is a trademarked term, obviously.
It's like with Subway and sandwich artists.
Right?
It's a trademarked term, all right? You gotta remember the
WWE and
TM
Superstar.
Yeah, superstars. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. Anyway, yes, we are here to discuss our favorite YouTubers.
Yes.
Not musicians. We have to specify.
Yeah, musicians are not going to be included on this list. That's going to be a separate episode we do somewhere down the line. So yeah, YouTube musicians are not included on this list.
Yes. We're just talking about, you don't need much more explanation. YouTubers.
Video content creators.
You're listening to YouTubers right now.
You are. We are YouTubers. Whoa! Holy shit.
What the fuck?
What a novel concept. Holy shit.
Fucking Jesus. Alright. And, we're here to have a nice little discussion about YouTubers. If you have any... if you want to tell us about your favorite YouTubers, if you want to interact with us, feel free to do so in the comments of this video or on Facebook or Twitter.
Give us that sweet interaction.
At FireStorm Pod on Facebook or Twitter, or even email us if you want. And
why would you do that? Who fucking uses email?
If you who emails anymore? Actually, that's a good question. Who the fuck emails anymore?
Who the fuck emails anymore?
Look,
God damn.
Unless you're going for a job interview, I don't understand.
But yeah, you got to give us that sweet social media interaction. Otherwise, we're gonna rust and die or some shit.
Yeah, please help.
Yeah, please help.
Our penis jokes are worth the following alone.
Hey, okay? One penis tweet is worth 1,000 words or dollars or something.
Yep. No, it is. It is worth more than any Patreon subscription, which we don't have. Anyway, so yeah,
pay us $1 a month and you'll get daily hashtag penis tweets instead of every other day.
Every day,
you're fucking welcome.
You get an exclusive Patreon-only penis joke. I love it. All right. Anyway, content creators.
So we have a few that we are in agreement that we both really like. So two or three, I think I see on the list. So yeah, 3.
Yes.
So we'll start off with our boys, our collective boys. The Cultaholic lads. They are
indeed.
Pretty much the only they're the only wrestling channel I watch, and it's for those of you who are unaware, Cultaholic, they're it's basically a business, it's a company, but it's primarily a YouTube channel and a website, and it's run by a collection of quite a few guys. But there's only about 5 or 5-6 on-screen presenters, and they all have really great chemistry with each other. Like the humor everywhere is on point, and the wrestling coverage is fantastic. They have a lot of different series and stuff. They have Graded, where they look at all 3 weekly WWE shows, as well as AEW Dynamite, and all kinds of just stuff that's really fun. And some of my favorite stuff that they've done is actually the the reactions and punishments. One of my favorite videos I think that they've done is the it was a while ago. I think it was over a year ago, the Night in the Woods punishment, where where Sam was out by himself and Adam and Ross went and messed with him. That is the kind of shit I want to be up to when I'm living on my own in my 20s. That is the kind of shit I want to be doing. I want to be going out in the middle of the night and fucking with my friends. Just looks awesome. So
I don't know if it's aired yet. But I believe they're in the process of making the second iteration of that.
Because Sam lost the Full Gear predictions, I think. So he has to do Night in the Woods too. I just saw that.
Then they lost another one in which it was either Jack had to join him or they were going to make it worse.
Yeah, that was the new one. That was Full Gear. So he lost he lost an AEW predictions contest a while back, and they still haven't done it because I can't remember. There was a reason, but I forgot it.
Busy as fuck.
They're busy as fuck.
Lads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hectic lads. But yeah, no. As Gus said, like these guys are the main wrestling channel that I watch. There's not a lot of others. Like there's a few others in which there was content involved with wrestling, but yeah, for news, for lists, for graded, and for reviews and stuff, like I mainly watch Cultaholic. If you guys know, they used to be associated with What Culture.
Yeah.
What Culture had many sub channels, and the main one was kind of like you could think of the main What Culture channel as like a Watch Mojo type thing where they just do lists and shit. But then What Culture Wrestling, which where these guys mainly like they started off, it grew. And it exploded to the point where they actually made their own wrestling company.
Yeah.
And it like kicked off for a while, and then for some reason, I don't exactly remember. They kind of explained it when they started Cultaholic. They all left What Culture, and they all begun this new venture.
Yeah.
And although it was with a rough beginning, they have kicked off, and they're now creating.
They're doing great now.
Fantastic content, which
daily
any wrestling
too.
fan can
Just
enjoy.
like 2 to 3 videos daily. It's amazing.
Every morning I wake up and I get my daily dose of wrestling news thanks to these lads.
Same.
It's
great.
really good. But yeah, Cultaholic, if you're a big wrestling fan, and if you're not that big on the YouTube, then we definitely recommend Cultaholic for your wrestling
stuff like the even I've gotten more into the Cultaholic podcast recently, not to advertise any other podcasts other than this one obviously, but the Cultaholic podcast is actually a lot of fun because a lot of wrestling podcasts I feel like they take themselves like way too seriously, but on the Cultaholic podcast it's kind of like this where they very often will go on like random tangents that have absolutely nothing to do with anything, and it's just a lot of fun. So and then WTF moments, really funny stuff. Some of their reaction videos are hilarious. Like I said, the chemistry between all those guys is amazing. And
you got to think that especially that. I believe it's a main collective of 5 people at the minute, and every so often they have different people coming in and doing different series with them. Yeah. For example, Matthew from Botchamania always comes in for the podcast, and he even has explained that the podcast has helped him open up and be more of a social, interact more socially as himself rather than the Botchamania guy, and he's got references for days.
He really does.
Has just an internal reference clock. Like every 2 minutes, I'm gonna make a reference. Here we go. But it's just you either understand half of them and then you don't understand the other half.
Yeah,
but
the others just completely fly over your head. That's what they do for me. Most of them.
Every single time he made an Undertale reference when Kenny Omega came out as Sans, and it went over Ross and Jack's head. I was so disappointed because I loved him. That was amazing. But anyway. I think
he seems like a really cool guy.
We're giving these guys great praise. The Cultaholic boys definitely.
They put in so much work. They put in so much work. They're great at what they do. And as far as wrestling channels go, a lot of I mentioned, a lot of the wrestling channels take themselves way too seriously. The comedy and it's on point, and they always treat everything fairly. They criticize everything with the same viewpoint. They don't just because WWE is WWE, they don't criticize it more harshly than they would AEW. It's all fair. Yeah. It's very down the middle, and it's just as far as wrestling journalism goes, that whole collection of people is just fantastic. So if you want some good wrestling content on the daily as well, 2 to 3 videos a day, it's ridiculous. And sometimes more. Just subscribe to them. They're fantastic.
And you mentioned as well your favorite video was the Night in the Woods thing. My favorite video was actually every so often they go out of their way to do a documentary style video. Yeah. And they did one on this wrestling recycle store in Japan.
Oh, I saw that. That looks really cool. And just the amount of professional editing and cutting, that's the type of content I want to create. The professional, high quality stuff, which is just so intriguing and interesting. I love that sort of content. And
and especially because also I love Japan as well. Like, I really want to go there. We both want to go there, but like it was really intriguing and really interesting. And yeah. So, but they're not just all silly buggers. Although most of the time it's silly buggers and hilariousness. They can do really informative, interesting content as well. It's just it's all around good package. Cultaholic is.
Yeah. And like, and some of the new stuff, like the new, like, if for those of you, like, if you haven't, like, say you haven't watched them since What Culture, the new edition, Tom Campbell, he gets harped on a lot, and unfairly so, in my opinion. Tom is incredible. Like, his wittiness,
he's just full of energy.
He's full of energy. He's so positive, and he was actually a guy who did local radio for where they did for a long time, and you can tell because he's witty, like the amount of like silly stuff he comes up with, like, every day. Like, there was a news video earlier today where he was they talked about how Mustafa Ali actually now is known as Mustafa Ali and not just Ali. Tom, he's like, okay, Ross, we're gonna play a game. It's, oh God, where's my name gone? And he was like, he named off all of the, like, some of the wrestlers that had gotten names removed from them, and Ross had to give the name that was taken away. So, like, he gave Big E and Ross had to say Langston, like, stuff like that. Just little stuff to make the video more fun and interesting. Tom is just fantastic at that. Like, you can like, I think he gets harped on way too much. Anyway, that's a side note. I love Tom. Tom, I love you. That's all.
All five of the main Cultaholic boys, Matthew, Jen, all the extras as well. You're all fantastic.
Yes.
Applause to you.
Applause. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yes. And, all right, next on the list, we both agree, and we're both massive fans of the Game Grumps. You can't deny the energy and the quality of the Game Grumps is just...
Chemistry, too.
It's... In the chemistry, it's just something great. And then,
it's fantastic.
Wasn't it Game Grumps that also split off and made Starbomb? Wasn't it?
Yes.
Wasn't it also them? Yep. They just got so much creativity behind them. And,
oh my God, so much creativity. The fact that they can do Starbomb on top of that, like, Starbomb by itself is one of the most genuinely creative things I've, like, especially, like, branching off from Game Grumps. Like, it's just so cool. I love Starbomb. I'm sad they're likely not making another album, but yeah, just the Game Grumps, it took me a long time to get into them, I'll admit. And the reason for that some of my friends when I was in high school really liked the Game Grumps, and like one or two of them were like, oh, you should watch the Game Grumps, and I didn't get it at first, but last year, my freshman year of college, I got into them big time. Like, I would just sit in my room and watch them for hours on end. Like, and I still do occasionally. But it's just the chemistry they have. It just feels like you're hanging out, and it's just you can't get that just about anywhere else. You just sit down. These two guys who are just relaxed as hell. They're just chilling, playing video games. It's just awesome. And the comedy there and the chemistry between Dan and Aaron is fantastic. I'm glad Danny doesn't. I know at the beginning when he replaced John that he got a lot of crap, but I'm so glad he doesn't now because I love Danny. Probably one of my favorite human beings on the planet. He's just awesome. Like, the fact he does NSP and Game Grumps, he's just such a cool dude. I wish I was him.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, Danny is awesome. So they just the amount the experience you have watching Game Grumps is like unlike any other like experience you can have on YouTube for the most part. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, for me at least, like you said, it took a while for you to get involved, like get into Game Grumps, and it's definitely the same with me. I tried getting into them in the past, and I must have watched like one or two videos and thought, nah, I'm not really interested. But then at the start of this year, when I found Starbomb, and then I found a different channel, which I'll mention later on, which involved Game Grumps as well. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, alright, I'll try and get back into them. And then like I watched their playthroughs of Doki Doki Literature Club, Undertale, the live streams, and then like a bunch of other stuff. And then I was just like, actually, I do get it. I understand. It is just such well-balanced comedy and well-balanced, like, humor and informative stuff, and like it's just really, it's a nice watch. You're right. It feels like you're there with a couple mates just chilling playing games, except you're watching them on your little iPhone. So instead, but it's really enjoyable, and even if you don't appreciate and like their content, that's fine. But Starbomb in its own right is fucking witty and humorous. Like, you gotta enjoy you might not enjoy everything they create, but you'll enjoy something. They got such a wide variety of content. You're bound to enjoy something. And I found I much prefer just a few of like maybe the horror games or like the visual novels, like whatever they play or stuff like that. I enjoy them a little bit more there. But I found my niche of the content I like from them, and I can.
They have so much, and they have so much available too.
I can understand why people love them worldwide. They're just that big. I understand why though.
Yeah, I lean more towards the Nintendo playthroughs myself. I love their Zelda playthroughs, Mario playthroughs, Sonic playthroughs. Obviously, they're infamous for that. So stuff like that. They have a couple Pokemon Let's Plays. One of them, I think only one of them got finished, and it was a few years back. I don't even know if it could not be finished. I don't know. I haven't watched it, but it's just fantastic. I really love just sitting down and watching Game Grumps. Sometimes I'll just have them on in the background while I'm like working on music or something. It's just nice to, just sit down and have Game Grumps is fantastic. What can I say?
I do admit there has been a few occasions where I've just sat down, I've been writing reports of stuff, and then I've just had their Undertale live streams just playing in the corner, and it's just a nice casual watch and good humor. So I love it. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and then we can move on to another one of the last of our shared ones. Is game and film theory, which I know we talked about briefly in I think it was like the first episode or something, but they're just I think obviously I started by getting into game theory. I'm not as much into film theory because I'm not as versed in the world of movies, but when they do Marvel stuff, they did an Last Airbender theory recently, which I really liked.
Still on my watch list, but I've heard
it was I really enjoyed that one. The thing I like the most about game theory, and most people, if you ask most people, they'll tell you it's like the visuals. And the visuals are fantastic, but I think the actual concept behind game theory is my favorite part of it. It's like, because so often you hear like, oh, enjoy your youth, enjoy your schools, because, when you're an adult, it's going to be so boring. And there's validity to that statement, because once you're an adult, you kind of start doing the same shit over and over again, and you don't really get to do anything new, and you don't really ever learn anything new. But when you're doing game theory, or even just watching game theory, you take these concepts that, educational concepts like physics concepts or science, chemistry, whatever. You take all these concepts, you go out of your way to learn them, and then you apply them to the random shit that you like video games in this case. I just love the idea of being able to apply real world educational things you would find oh, that's fucking boring. Physics or science or math to these video games and in such a unique way and creative way. I just really think that's cool. And so the amount of stuff that I learn, I could name off probably a couple times where I've walked into class, physics class last semester for me, where I already knew the topic that we were discussing today because I watched a game theory episode where they talked about it. It's just it's just fantastic. I really like the idea behind game theory. So, and obviously all the content is fun to watch. The ones that I've been really enjoying recently, actually, there was a great one on why electric Pokemon are terrible recently, which I really liked. And then all the recent Minecraft theories I've been really enjoying as well, kind of piecing together the backstory of Minecraft. It's something you don't really think about, because when you're playing Minecraft, you're just kind of thinking about fucking around and being a dick to, I don't know, the world or some shit, the environment. But because that's kind of what you do in Minecraft. But the fact that there's even a hidden lore behind Minecraft at all is just fascinating. And the way that Matt Pat's been able to piece together is really like fantastic. Like absolute kudos for that, because that is insane. But I've been really enjoying those recently.
A lot of things about like the game theory and film theory and all that. Like a lot of aspects of it I enjoy. There are a few like game theory. It like Game Grumps. It took me a while to get into them. Initially, I think it must have started off obviously with the FNAF videos for me, because like I was always one of those guys that's just like, what the fuck is the hype around this game? And then I started watching the FNAF theories, and I was just like, oh, there's actually a lot into it.
Yeah.
And I think I agree with you. The aspects that I enjoy most about game theory is the learning part of it. Like, I definitely like the content he's made around FNAF, around Smash Bros, around the Doki Doki Literature Club ones, and the videos where he sits down and talks about YouTube algorithms and stuff like that. All that has been so informative and just interesting to learn about. And a lot of the stuff as well about like all the fucking like 30 or 40 videos he's done on FNAF. A lot of those videos have actually, like, the way he breaks down the lore, and even the first episode where he theorized that the whole, like, the four animatronics and Golden Freddy and all that were actually based off a story of a killer who killed 4 restaurant
in an
employees
actual Chuck E.
like
Cheese,
Yeah, I know, and it's just like, just learning about that. So I'm not at all disrespecting the tragedy that happened there. Yeah. But like learning about stuff like that, it gives me like ideas for writing even. It's just like the way he breaks down certain narratives and story beats, it's just like those actually, if that was to be rearranged, it could make a really interesting story, because a lot of the stuff he talks about is the hidden lore and stuff like that. But if it wasn't hidden lore, and if it was just straight in your face, this stuff happens, it could make a really interesting story. So, just learning about it has just given me heaps of ideas for things. And, like, the way he breaks down books as well, like, of the FNAF books as well. A lot of it is just really intriguing. So,
it's very well done too. Like, it's concise and it makes sense. Like, and it's well done from a creator's, like, a presenter's perspective as well, like an entertainer's perspective. Like, it all, like, the pacing of the videos are all great. Like, you can tell he's been doing this for a long time, and he pays attention to the algorithm and knows what he's doing. And the whole team behind Game Theories, like, they're all fantastic. I just really enjoy it.
There has been a few little criticisms I've had of game theory in the past. Like I've mentioned before, I did a whole critique video about GT Live, because there was a live stream where they were just talking stuff about that came across insensitive to certain topics. But anyone is open to make those types of mistakes, where they could easily be misinterpreted as not caring about a topic. But like the few two critiques I do have is that they do these things which to a younger audience is hilarious, but to me, I don't find it funny. Like the way they always use the same image of Matt Pat throughout the videos of him leading, like posing with one hand, like his chin in his hand, like that just annoys me, using the same image all the time. And then the other series with I think it was Austin. It's just like his intro is just like, "Hey, it's me, Austin."
Oh, I don't watch his videos.
I watch those. Those are interesting as well, but that intro specifically just irritates me a bit. But like with any channel, like nothing is ever perfect, but a lot of their content is really informative, really interesting. If you can just get past the one or two like bits that some people might find cringy, like there's a few parts, like few jokes that just fall flat. But a majority of the content is either it's funny, it's interesting, or it's informative. And there is so much you can learn about just either about story beats, about a series, or even, like you said, about scientific topics that you already knew because you watched Game Theory.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like there's so much, and even he talks about the YouTube algorithm and stuff about YouTube. There's so much you can learn from game theorists, and then you even, like, through just watching them to learn stuff, you become attached to the characters themselves. Like, I would love to sit down and have just a long conversation with Matt Pat about just stuff. He seems like such a well-versed guy that a lot.
Let's get him on the podcast.
Dude, Matt Pat, open invitation. Look, I know.
Hey, open your DMs, Matt Pat. We're coming after you.
I've been open openly critical about a few things that he's done in the past, but like I don't feel like I am not at all discouraged from having a topic or a conversation with him, because he has openly taken on constructive criticism and has given back feedback and all that. Like, he welcomes it, and that is something I respect. I think he's a great guy despite a few things in the past. What he does now and what he has been doing for years is really interesting and really well versed. He knows what he's doing, and he just seems like a great guy. Come on to the podcast, Matt.
Come on, buddy.
We would love to have you on.
Come on, Matt. Get in. Dude. Bring Stephanie. Why not? Who cares?
Yeah.
Bring your baby. I don't care. Bring your fucking newborn child. I'll even put a pacifier in his mouth. I'll help you take. I'll change his diaper for you, man. I don't even care. Bring him in.
FireStorm Podcast special episode. Matt Pat's child.
Hey,
fuck yeah.
Bring him in.
Yeah. So yeah, game theory and film theory as well. Film theory has been interesting, just for like similar aspects to game theory.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, but like more anime and movies and stuff like that. And you know what? That's completely fine. I like both of them. Yep. I've seen a few GT live streams. I haven't really paid much attention to those as of late, because
I'm a fan of the old ones. I don't really watch the new ones.
Yeah, I've just been mainly focusing on game theory and film theory, but a lot of the content is just really well done, really well produced, and really interesting.
I like to have some of the old GT lives. I'll like have on in the background while I work on stuff, just for noise. But I do enjoy some like the first couple years of GT Live, because then they started doing GT Live where they start talking about other shit, and I'm just not interested in that. But when they play video games, I'm usually interested in that. So
him breaking down the lore of Five Nights at Freddy while playing Five Nights at Freddy is really interesting to watch, because he's just like he gets things that are turns out to be true 10 minutes later, and it's just like, ha! I knew it! And it's just like, oh, well, you fucking did, man. Jesus Christ, you're smart. Wow. But,
holy shit.
Yeah. Anyway, if you don't know about game theory and film theory,
I don't know how. You must have been living under a rock or some shit.
They're quite big. I don't understand how you wouldn't know about them, but anyway, I guess, there you go.
Yeah, those are our shared ones. From here on, we're just kind of gonna be chatting briefly about some of the other ones that we like. So I'll go ahead and start. So one of the creators I've gotten into recently, he's an animator. His name is he goes by Terminal Montage, and he does these he has this animation and drawing style that is just, it's very obviously and intentionally bad. Like, it's fantastic. So I first discovered him, like a lot of people did, with the Breath of the Wild animated speedrun. And the thing is, I'll talk about this later because I really have grown to enjoy speedrunning. The Breath of the Wild animated speedrun looks ridiculous on paper, but it's actually incredibly accurate to how the speedrun actually is. And so it's utterly ridiculous. It's just fantastic. So, Breath of the Wild animated speedrun, even with no context, or if you've never even seen Breath of the Wild, it doesn't really spoil much of anything, so you can pretty much watch it, you don't really get any of the story really spoiled for you. Like, you kind of see the bosses, and Link kind of takes them down in a few seconds. It's hilarious. And he's also done a couple other videos, like Pokemon Battle Royals, which are hilarious. He did one recently with all baby Pokemon Battle Royal, and it was like, and he did one of my favorites is the legendary Pokemon Battle Royal, where all of the legendary and mythical Pokemon are like just thrown onto the world, and they just fight to the death or some shit. It's just ridiculous, and he's got a lot of other really funny animations and stuff. Some stuff like World of Light animated is really funny. That's Smash Bros. Ultimate World of Light. That's really funny. A couple Star Fox, Kirby. So yeah, he does this. It's called like Something About. Like, that's the series he does. And it's just a bunch of really, like, intentionally bad drawings and like kind of silly animation style. Like it's just hilarious. And if you have a few minutes to spare, literally just go watch any terminal montage video and you will not regret it. Like it's hilarious. And there's so many memes on his stuff already. Like there's I can't remember what exactly the context was, but it's the main meme is Kirby holding a cross and it says this is a Christian channel. And it's and it's like he uses that. It's like at the end of a Kirby video, he uses that to defeat the final boss. He's like he holds up a cross. It's like the same thing as like "Be gone, spirit," but it's just like you can't do that. This is a Christian channel, and the boss just explodes, and Kirby's like, and he just celebrates. That's the main meme. But so if you've seen like the badly drawn Kirby holding a cross, that's where it's from. But yeah, so terminal montage, if you have a chance, highly recommend that stuff. Fantastic.
Nice. I'm going to go in a different order compared to what our lists say, because I hinted at these guys before. As well, at the start of the year, as well as I found Game Grumps, around the same time I found Oni Plays. I found both of them at the same time, literally because of a video they did together for their Simpsons Hit and Run video. That is the funniest fucking shit. I can rewatch it anytime and it'll always make me laugh. Only Plays, they are similar to Game Grumps, as in there's just a group of guys playing games and stuff. It's a lot more silly humor, a lot more just fucking... really, it's just a lot more silly humor, whereas like Game Grumps can also be hilarious, but it can also be sophisticated, where Only Plays just fucking dumb, but it's just hilarious at the same time.
Nice.
Like, Only Plays, it's just like in October they always play horror games for Halloween, and like they did a bunch of horror games like Slender the Arrival. They did another one, Visage, I think it was, and like their reactions and the way they fuck with each other during a horror game, like when one of them is playing and is really focusing, they'll always fuck with the one guy playing, and it's just they have such good comedy and such good humor, and
nice.
Like, although it can be seen as like, I don't know, a little bit childish at times, a lot of the time it's just funny as hell. So definitely recommend Only Plays. And yeah, if you want to get a little taste, they did do a few videos with Game Grumps. And yeah, it's pretty good, I will admit. And
nice.
They did an animation of the hit and run, actually, which was used at AvCon once. It was like a 3-minute animation of the funniest bits of the Simpsons hit and run, and it was just so good. But
nice.
Yeah, Only Plays, definitely recommend them. Nice group hilariousness, and they always, I believe it's purely video games. They just play different games, and most of the time it's the whole group, but on occasion it's just two of them, but most of the time it's the whole group, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of humor, so yeah, check them out.
Nice. Sounds... I might actually do that. Sounds great. Because I want to see all those stupid humor, because that's my brand of humor.
If you search up Game Grumps Simpsons Hit and Run, you'll get a general idea, because I think it's mainly the Only Play guys and Aaron doing that on the Game Grumps channel. So yeah, Game Grumps Simpsons Hit and Run, you'll find them, and you'll get the idea of Only Play's humor through that. And
nice,
it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to your next one.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of mention two that are in similar veins, because they're both very, very long running channels, and you'll probably get the idea. Like, you've probably seen one or two of their videos at least before. But the first one is Good Mythical Morning, who I've been subscribed to. I haven't been into them for very long, but every so often I'll see like a video pop up in the morning, and I'll just be like, oh, cool, and I'll just watch it. And obviously, Rhett and Link, they have great chemistry together. They've been best friends for God knows how many years, like almost as long as they've been alive, which is 40 something years now, which is like the fact that they're still so funny at 40 something is amazing in itself. But they have like the amount of crazy shit they get up to is just it's great. Like they have, and the amount of crazy food they eat, like it's just fun to watch. So it's not like, and it's nothing, nothing ever is really offensive. They obviously censor themselves for the YouTube algorithm. Couldn't be me, but it's but yeah, Good Mythical Morning is just great fun. I'm sure pretty much I feel like everyone's at least heard of them. So yeah, Rhett and Link, I really like those guys. They're just fantastic. I really like watching them, and obviously their chemistry together is great. And then the next one I want to mention is a channel Rhett and Link have actually been on a couple times. It's Epic Rap Battles of History. They're still going, believe it or not. Yep. They're still going.
Yeah, they're still going. I am familiar with these guys as well. Probably not as much as you. I haven't kept up with them recently, but I know Epic Rap Battles of History, and it's quite impressive. They're still running. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm not like the reason. I really like Epic Rap Battles of History. Again, it's kind of like game theories that the concept of Epic Rap Battles of History is really cool because you put these two guys who are like maybe similar or something, but from completely different points of history or even fictional in some cases, and you just throw them together, and you use like proper research, like you do your research into each one of the characters, and you write raps dissing one from the other. And so, like, from the point of view of somebody, like Hitler versus Darth Vader is a great example of this.
That is
like,
so good. Fuck
the whole like trilogy of Hitler versus Darth Vader, like the amount of like, it's not even just roasting, like say, if you're Darth Vader roasting Hitler, it's not just roasting Hitler, right? It's roasting Hitler from the point of view of a Star Wars character. So you use like these Star Wars puns, and like it's just the play on words that they have all in pretty much every one of their rap battles. A lot of the time goes completely unnoticed, like especially because some of it's very obscure and like hard to catch if you don't know or you're not familiar with some of the guys that they are covering. So, and that's been the problem with like some of the recent ones is like the guys that they have, I'm just not really familiar with. So I don't feel like I'll appreciate it unless and the last one that I really did appreciate, and it was fairly recent, was and you won't be surprised by this, but it was Ash Ketchum versus Charles Darwin. That was one of my favorites.
About that one.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. That was one that I could appreciate all the way through because obviously as someone who's been through high school biology, I am very familiar with the history of Charles Darwin, and obviously as someone who's been watching the Pokemon anime for God knows how long, I am very familiar with Ash Ketchum. So I could appreciate that one all the way through, and that's probably the most recent one that I've been able to do that with. But stuff like the Wright brothers versus the Mario brothers, Michael Jackson versus Michael Jackson versus Elvis Presley, Renaissance artists versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, stuff like pretty much all of season 1, most of season 1, and then a lot of season 2 as well. Leonidas versus Master Chief. There's so many good ones. I really love Epic Rap Battles of History. So yeah, they are still going. They don't really use as much fictional characters anymore, which is kind of sad. But yeah, like I said, the last one they pretty much did was Ash Ketchum, and but yeah, the Charles Darwin versus Ash Ketchum is actually fire. It's so good. So
the ones I'm familiar with, Deadpool versus Boba Fett.
That's a good one.
Zeus versus Thor.
That's good too.
And I like the two Dan Bull ones, Hannibal Lecter versus Jack the Ripper, and Winston Churchill versus Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh yeah. Also, Elon Musk really versus Mark Zuckerberg. That was another recent one that I appreciated all the way.
Good. Jesus,
that was another one I appreciated all the way through.
They've got a lot of good hits on them, and as of late, I haven't really caught up with them. I know they got season 6 going at the minute. I know they brought it back, but there's a lot of older ones I can appreciate. I do admit Epic Rap Battles, great shit, and they spawned a whole subgenre of channels creating rap battles between different sides of life. Like, because of them, I found a fuck ton of hilarious anime rap battles. Like Kira from Death Note versus Zero from Code Geass.
Yeah.
There's a few of those iterations, and then like Lily versus N Harmona from the for Pokemon. It's like there's one for that, and it's so good.
Nice.
I need to send you that one. That one was really good.
You said please do send me that one.
I think you could appreciate that one. But yeah, no, epic rap battles of history have really done their part in essentially like helping YouTube grow. They were there from the start.
So just a few more that I can list off as some that I have really liked. Goku versus Superman, that was fantastic.
Yep.
Goku, that was fantastic. I'm trying to find there's a couple others. Bill Nye versus Isaac Newton, that's underappreciated. That's a fantastic one. Stephen King, Edgar Allan Poe, that was great. Doc Brown versus Doctor Who, fantastic stuff. Bill Gates versus Steve Jobs. Like, I could name this shit off all day. Like, there's so many. Mozart versus Skrillex. God, that was amazing.
Jesus.
Mozart versus Skrillex is one of my favorites, definitely.
And then they did the live version where the actual Skrillex came on stage doing them.
That was so good.
That was great. Anyway, I know we said we were going to do musicians in a different video, but we're just covering epic rap battles of history because even though they're mainly music, just the concept and the
videos, there's a lot of effort that goes into the videos as well.
The amount of influence they've had over like just the YouTube landscape and spawning this subgenre of type of shit like of rap battles. Yeah, no, that they needed props here.
For sure.
But epic rap battles is good stuff. But
yep.
Is that all you had to say on them?
Yes, I'm good.
Great. I'll move on. I've got a few other channels. I'm going to cover the smaller ones, and then the Australian ones, then the big ones, because I've got 6 left. So here we go.
I haven't counted.
The smaller ones. Next channel I want to mention is Abroad in Japan. I believe the guy who runs it, I think his name is Chris? I don't know. It's some guy from England who basically, he wanted to just learn about Japan and its culture, and he is one of those few YouTubers that lives in Japan but doesn't do anime content. He was not at all influenced by anime in any idea whatsoever. He just was really intrigued by the culture of Japan, moved over there with a teaching degree, and he taught for a while, but then he has just moved on to just do YouTube, and I support him on Patreon. He is a really cool guy, and he just creates a lot of documentaries and informative videos. When I say documentaries, like he has a really good brand of dry humor, which is notorious for the British. And I get it, I love it, it's really good. He has a really good sense of humor, and he does a lot of videos traveling to different parts of Japan, showing off different aspects of life there, and it's really intriguing, and a lot of his videos have influenced places where I want to go when I'm in Japan, and a lot of different ideas and stuff like that about what I want to do there. He is just really informative. He is quite witty. He's got a lot of friends as well that are Japanese that are really cool to see as well. And he's done a whole documentary on one of them because of how interesting his life was. He did 1 hour documentary on his friend Natsuki, who was so fucking... It was really interesting because it was all about how Natsuki was a hairdresser, but he wanted to travel the world. And Natsuki himself is fucking hilarious. And he's just got such a good brand going, and his most recent video, I believe, was about Fukushima, how it was one of the nuclear power plants, I think it was at Fukushima, I believe, it fucking exploded years ago, and about how most of Fukushima was...
Kind of like most of Japan did in the World War II. I mean, what?
No, what? Anyway, but...
America! Fuck yeah!
Yeah, but it was all about the rebuilding of Fukushima, and I think it was Fukushima. I could be wrong. I don't know. It's one of his most recent videos, but it's a really nice documentary style video explaining about how it's rebuilding and what Japan are doing to help him out, and it's really informative, really interesting, and like. A lot more recently, I've been getting more into the channels which are not only funny but rather informative with different aspects of life. And Abroad in Japan is definitely one of the channels that I'm using as an influence for stuff I want to do in Japan. But he's just really, if you want to learn more about the culture of Japan, about Japan itself, or stuff like that, definitely check out his channel. That's why it's called Abroad in Japan, because the whole fucking reason he's there is to show people what Japan is like from an outside perspective. And yeah, it's just really, really interesting. So
nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Hell
shit.
yeah.
So
hell yeah.
Check out next channel for you.
Yep. I wanted to talk about, and this is an obligatory shout out for me, JonTron, who is just, oh my god, I don't know if there's a man with as much, like, as far as pure comedy goes, JonTron might be the funniest man I've ever seen. Like, he is absolutely hilarious, and you know, he still does his upload schedule, and like the type of content he does has changed in over like the last year or so. Maybe 2 years. It's been like a gradual change, and he kind of does more real life stuff now. He doesn't cover as much video games or anything like that, or TV shows or movies or whatever. But he started out with doing reviews of like very obviously shitty video games and movies, and just having the best reactions to them and like criticizing them in the funniest way possible. So I don't know if you've never seen a JonTron video. I don't know what to tell you, but God, like just watch any of his videos from like 2013 to maybe even like 2013, 2014 to like 2017. You're going to laugh the whole way through. It's fantastic. Some of my favorites. Oh man, let me just go click on his channel real quick so I can figure out which ones of mine are, which one of his videos are my favorite, because there are a lot of them. But yeah, he does, like I said, he does more kind of real life stuff now, but it's still very funny. Like I'm not really interested in that kind of content, but he still is able to just make me laugh the whole way through, and which is just a testament to how funny he is. Like it's fantastic. Like he actually did a video today where he meets up with a NASCAR driver and learns to drive a race car, and he goes to like watch a race in North Carolina and shit. And it was just funny, like the way he like the way he carries himself and the things he says. It's just hilarious. Obviously, he's infamous for the flex tape video. That kind of blew the fuck up and made flex tape a meme, and for good reason, because it is a meme. Because goddamn, Phil Swift, what a man he is. I follow him on Instagram now, and I do not regret it.
What a meme he is! Jesus.
What a meme! He's fantastic. So stuff like his favorite videos of mine are stuff from around 4 to 5 years ago at this point. So stuff like. Space Ace Birdemic is fantastic. That's a absolutely hilarious one. Food Fight, California Games, Zoo Race, just all the stuff from back then. And then A Talking Cat, that one's really good. Skateboard Kid, just the ones where he reviews bad movies and video games. They're all hilarious to me. So yeah, you can pretty much watch any one of those and just have a dandy old time. I think if I had to tell you to watch one, the first JonTron video I ever watched was the one on bootlegged Pokemon games, which is a good like intro to him, especially because like since I was familiar with Pokemon before I got into JonTron, it was a good place to kind of connect his brand of humor to something I was already familiar with, and that's a funny video too. But yeah, just anything JonTron, it's so funny, so funny. Star Wars Connect is also a gem, because I mean the Connect itself is kind of a gem, isn't it? Yikes. But yeah, so I really enjoyed JonTron. Also the one actually kind of recently, other than the flex tape, the 2 flex tape videos, which are both hilarious, by the way. Also, if you want to, the flex tape video, the first flex tape video is also a very good way to get introduced to JonTron's brand of humor. But yeah, that one, as well as the Soldier Boy makes a video game console. He covered that whole thing when it happened earlier in the year, and the way he goes about making that video, it's just fantastic. So yeah, just I cannot recommend his videos enough. They're just so funny, so funny.
Nice. Yeah. No, I've heard a lot about JonTron, and I've heard all positive things about him.
Yep.
So that's pretty good. Yep. All right, moving along. The next kind of smaller channel I want to talk about is a channel that has been with me for a long time. I believe I mentioned him. I think I mentioned him to you once. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast. Little Karibo.
Don't believe so.
Little Karibo. Have I ever mentioned him to you before?
I think you have, yeah.
Little Karibo. Okay. Little Karibo, he is infamous for being the father of abridging on YouTube, a bridge series. He is the father of it because he made the first ever abridged series, I believe, in 2006 with Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series. And it was very different content for, 2006, 2007. It was very different content for that era. Dubbing over an anime and making it just twice as funny and like condensed and shortened and making it hilarious. And it blew up, and now it's become this professional passion project where he does most of the voices for the different characters, and it's always a humorous, funny, just really great content. And in more recent times as well, because there are 5 seasons of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, and if you look at most abridgers nowadays, most of them get shut down for copyright material, right? Because obviously they're using anime clips, and even though they are like, it is transformative stuff because they're cutting together clips and making it a comedy version of whatever the show was, a lot of them still get taken down. Little Karibo's in a fortunate position where he started doing it before the whole copyright system came in. And 4Kids were the ones that were striking his channels down. Like, I remember back when because he was initially Little Karibo, then he was Card Games for the Win, or FTW, for the longest time. But then when 4Kids went bankrupt and then were sold back to Konami and were remade as 4K Media, I may have gotten this wrong, but I believe they stopped striking his videos because 4Kids were no longer in control. So now he's actually been able to pursue through it all. He is the only abridger, one of the few abridgers I'm aware of that is so close to completing a series in its entirety. Like, some people get a few episodes into a series and then it just ends, or I know I know an abridged series for High School of the Dead, which got completed, but they went through a lot of bullshit and a lot of edits and a lot of changes. But Little Karibo is one of the few that's persevered throughout over 10 years of making this series. He is up to the final season of Yu-Gi-Oh! So he's done 4 seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh!, 2 of the movies, and now he's up to the 5th season, and he's up to the movie which happens after that, Dark Side of Dimensions. And he has just been, even though he struggles with a lot of issues as well. Like, in his most recent video was actually a health update. He goes through a lot of stress and stuff like that just because of modern day life and everything. And he does have a Patreon as well. You can support him to help create content. He used to also do content called The Mark Remark, where he literally just reviewed the weekly episodes of Raw and SmackDown. And he did that in about 2016, 2017, but he's more recently stopped it because those videos were actually getting taken down properly, and it became more difficult to create that content on a weekly basis. But they literally look up The Mark Remark, or one of his first WrestleMania. He did like 2 or 3 WrestleManias. Check out one of the first WrestleManias he did. I think you'll enjoy his Mark Remark videos just because the humor is just so fucking good in there.
Nice.
But
all right.
yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series has been with me since primary school, year 2012, I believe. There was an episode that my friend Jack showed me. Episode 52. It was called Seto Kaiba versus the World. And I did not know what the fuck was going on, but it was just so funny that I didn't care. I just watched it because I thought it was hilarious. And then me being me, went back and watched the entirety, everything from the first episode, the shitty quality of a 2006 YouTube video. I don't care. I persevered through it. And the comedy just, it evolves with time and it just becomes so much better. And he's now turned, like, you know how Sword Art, like, I don't know, have you seen Sword Art Online Abridged?
I have not. I know a lot of good things have been said about it. There was this video in my recommended that said it was titled "The Genius of SAO Abridged."
Yeah,
I'm not like a huge into abridged. I know they're hilarious, and I have even done a couple songs for abridged series. But
yes, we've mentioned that. That's awesome.
We have mentioned that. But it's like I don't like, they are funny, and it's just, but it's like, it's kind of like, I think if I was gonna dedicate 20 minutes to something like that, I would just watch like an actual anime episode. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So they're not,
the only reason,
but they are funny. I do like them.
The only reason I think that video came up and you recommended The Genius of SAO Abridged is because it's one of those series that actually, it doesn't just condense and abridge the show just for comedic purposes. It actually retells the story in a more logical sense. Like, at least the way SAO Abridged have done it, they have retold Sword Art Online in such a different way to make character motivations and personalities different. But in a story sense, it makes so much more sense than the original series. I prefer
I believe
that. Sword Art Online Abridged to Season 1 of the original Sword Art Online, just because the story itself makes so much more fucking sense and is so much more entertaining. I prefer that, like SAO Abridged over original SAO. And in the same sense with Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged and what Little Karibo's done, he didn't, I don't think he necessarily did with Season 1 and 2, but moving on from Seasons 3 and 4, it's no longer just about the comedy. He also has made a really good flowing narrative of the show that's so interesting and so well told that, like, it's just really fucking good. And because, especially with anime like Yu-Gi-Oh!, like, you see animes like Naruto, One Piece, and and Pokemon, all the big animes, they have a lot of filler episodes between main story episodes. The way he's able to cut down and condense it, or even entirely remove the unimportant filler episodes, keep the important shit in, make it, like, transform it to make it interesting, and then add a fuckload of comedy to it, it's so well done. And like, Little Karibo deserves all the props for that. And yeah, he's been at it for over 10 years, and he's still making some of the funniest shit I've ever seen on YouTube, and props to him. He's doing such a good job.
Yeah,
so,
wow.
Little Karibo definitely deserves the props. If you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you might, like, I do admit the first 20 episodes, he's up to like 80, 90 episodes of the Abridged series. That's, like, over the course of 10 years. It's
insane.
Fucking mental. The first 20 episodes are a bit of a slog just because of the quality of the videos back of when they were initially released. Like, it's a little bit like, oh Jesus, this is really old. But then episode 20 onwards, it starts, it gets better, and, like, quality wise, and it's just really easy to breeze through them, and it's really interesting and entertaining. So yeah,
nice.
Little Karibo, fucking love that dude. I've even, like, every so often he does live streams as well. Like, he did a live stream watching, I think it was like a superstar shakeup for Raw or something like that. It was last year or the year before, and he was just answering comments on that as well. And I had the opportunity to chat to him a bit and he was just a really chill dude, and he was just fucking awesome. So yeah, really good guy.
What a lad.
Martin Villainy, Little Karibo, and he's voice acted in actual professional anime as well because of his contributions on YouTube and all that. He's actually have you heard of a Jin Demi-Human?
I have not.
It's a Netflix show. It is one of those 3D anime, but it's actually really good. And he voices one of the prominent characters in that. And he's voiced quite a few characters just in general in more mainstream anime. And he actually has done the I forgot what it's called, but it's like descriptive narration for blind people for movies. Like literally, like if a blind person wants to essentially watch a movie without their eyes because they're blind, they can turn on descriptive narration, and it's basically someone describing the plots of describing the events of the movie, but then whenever there's dialogue, he just lets them speak. He did the narration for the most recent 2 or 3 Star Wars movies, and literally he was hired by Disney to do them. And now on Disney Plus, you can turn on descriptive narration and it'll be him.
Nice.
It's so fucking awesome. Just seeing how far he's come from 2006. But he's still going forward, and he plans to finish Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, knock out the 5th season, do the Dark Side of Dimensions movie, and then he literally says, I'm going to be lost after that. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do because I've been doing this for over 10 years. And I'm like, well, dude, I don't fucking blame you. Yeah, but even if you're not a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh!, just Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series is phenomenal. So, yeah, there's so much praise I can give him, but I've already gone on long enough. So, there you go.
All right. Fantastic. My next one's going to be...
We're an hour into this, and we still have so much more to go through.
Yeah,
Woo, this is gonna be a long one.
My next one's fairly brief. So my next shout out, I guess you could call it, is binging with Babish, and one of my guilty pleasures in the world of television is cooking shows, because I like food and I like seeing fancy food. Because I never eat fancy food. I eat microwave food and
sushi
dining hall
is the most fancy shit I've ever eaten. Sushi,
and yeah, it doesn't get much fancier than McDonald's for me on a regular basis.
Damn.
But yeah. So I like seeing food. But binging with Babish takes cooking, the idea of a cooking show, in a really creative direction. He recreates food from movies and video games and anime, and it's awesome. Namely, some of my favorites that he's done, or the ones that I can remember off the top of my head. I'll pull it up real quick just because I know I'm going to forget. But he does it every Tuesday. He releases a new episode, and he also has a couple other shows going on. He has a cooking basics show going on, so every other Thursday I think he posts here's how you prepare actual a dish that you can actually make and that isn't some weird recreation of something you see in a movie. But he's done some of my favorites that he's done are some stuff he recreated some food from Breath of the Wild, which was really cool to see. He's done a few things from regular show which have been great. He's done, I think how I got introduced to him was the sandwich from Adventure Time, and that was, obviously great, but it's just so much fun, and some of the stuff he is able to create, the concept, if you were to look at some of the things he makes and be like, okay, yeah, I could totally make that, you would never be able to make it. It's just you would never be able to make anything like that. Some of the shit, banana pudding pizza is one of the videos I see in front of me right now. What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does that even mean? So, and he's done a few things from SpongeBob, but pretty much anything you can think of. He's done stuff from Food Wars, to be fair, that episode was sponsored by Crunchyroll, so that's probably the only reason he was able to do it. But, he has done stuff from Food Wars, it's, the amount of stuff he does, he covers a bunch of, he does his fair share of like sitcom foods and stuff like that. He's done stuff from Rick and Morty. Like, it's just great. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I want to be able to cook, but I actually did make a dish, I think 2 Thanksgivings ago, in 2017, thanks to a Binging with Babish video. I made a Harry Potter themed, it's a dish from Harry Potter, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it turned out pretty good, actually. I had no idea what I was doing, but it still turned out pretty well, and that's just a testament to how fucking good he is. So, if I had no idea what I was doing and I made it, I think you could probably make it too. So if you, like, some of the stuff is obviously ridiculous and you won't ever want to make it in your life, but the Thanksgiving one, based on Harry Potter, it was actually very good. So, yeah, highly recommend that one. I think it was like a pie. It was some kind of pie. Harry Potter special. There you go. I found it. It was posted a year ago. Probably close to 2 years ago. But yeah, I did make something for Thanksgiving a couple years ago. It might have been, I can't even remember. But yeah, I did, and it turned out okay. So yeah, but it just, cooking shows, I just like to watch them because I think they're cool and I like food. So there you go. What can I say?
Very good. All right, I'll keep this next one brief as well. The next is yes, I've covered the smaller channels. Now I'm covering the Australian channels. I've got 2 here. Mm-hmm. I'll do them both in a row. Fuck it.
Okay.
Lewis Spears. He is an Australian comedian, and by the time this episode released, I'll actually be go seeing his comedy special. He every year he travels around Australia to the different states and does a comedy special. This is his 5th year in a row, I believe, doing it. He's been on YouTube for a while now. He does a lot of, it's all comedy based stuff, but his main series is called Lou Review, where basically he just breaks down why something is bullshit or why something should be criticized. He has a lot of offensive humor behind him, but he's really, really fucking funny. Like with a lot of Australians, offensive humor, you got to be Australian to understand half of it. But a lot of it is also just like, this is funny, this is good.
Yeah.
And he's also, like, he's a really humble guy. I think I mentioned him previously with a different podcast called The Luke and Lewis Show. It's the same Lewis.
Yeah.
He's always hard at work, creating comedy specials, creating his podcast, going on tours and stuff and creating videos. And he's just hardworking, hilarious dude, and I think he deserves a lot of props.
Yep.
Next is the other Australian, Friendly Geordies, who has actually been in the news as of late because he studied politics, I believe, or something along the lines of political stuff for years. And he essentially makes mostly comedic but also informative political videos about why, he does, obviously he trashes the Australian Liberal Party for many reasons which make a lot of sense. I'm not gonna get too political here, unlike him. He's really funny, but he's been in the news as of late because the most recent election, he trashed this bloke. I don't know if you've heard of the name, Clive Palmer.
I don't believe so.
Okay, well, you know how, who's the motherfucker, who's that, the guy who just got voted into British Parliament? Well, not voted, but he just got in there.
Oh, God, fuck.
England Prime Minister, hold on.
We're gonna find out. Live research on the podcast.
Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson is the Prime Minister, is the Prime Minister over there. You know, and everyone says, Boris Johnson is the British Donald Trump. Well, I think you can easily say that Clive Palmer is the Australian Donald Trump. He spent $60 million to try and get one seat in Parliament and failed. He is such
what a fucking moron.
He is such a fuckhead. And basically, Friendly Geordies was he made a video about him ages ago about why Clive Palmer, like a lot of the things he's done, a lot of his previous business ventures have all failed, and he hasn't paid a lot of his workers, and it was just a lot of shit denouncing why Clive Palmer shouldn't be voted. And Clive Palmer, in response, sued him. Clive Palmer sued this YouTuber for defamatory content and despouching his name, and he's not backing down from the. Yeah, he's not backing down from the lawsuit though, because his excuse was, dude, I don't own anything, and the Australian welfare system is set up so if I lose a lot of money, I'll still be supported by the welfare system, so what the fuck's the problem here? I can still make content and survive. I don't care how much you're suing me for. And he's got a bunch of YouTubers with the hashtag Clive. Literally, the reason he's getting sued by Clive Palmer is because he, quote, called him in the video a fatty McFuckhead. And he's just like, oh, I'm suing you for defamatory content for the names of Fatty McFuckhead, Dead's Humpty Dumpty, and a ton of other dumb nicknames. And it's just ridiculous. But yeah, and he started a hashtag Clive Palmer as a Fatty McFuckhead. And I don't know if you support it, but I support it. Clive Palmer is a Fatty McFuckhead. Sue me, I don't care.
I like the name, so I'm in as well. I don't know anything about Australian politics, but I'm in.
Yep, alright. Clive Palmer's a Fatty McFuckhead. That would be the hashtag at the end of this outro. That would be the outro card. The hashtag at the end of this outro card. But anyway, yeah, but apart from that, Friendly Geordies is very informative with his content. It helps a lot of Australians, like especially younger Australians. Like, it's the transformative, it's the content that helps you gain your own knowledge of a topic, whereas he has actually talked about a few of the positives the Liberal Party has done as well, but it is mostly negatives towards them because they have done a lot of things to fuck over the Australian public, and it's just a lot of and it's all about anyway, I don't want to get too political. If you want to know why all of this shit's happening, just watch his videos. A lot of it actually makes sense. A lot of it has a lot of evidence backing it up as well, so I believe a lot of what Friendly Geordie says. But he's really hilarious, and he also makes just other content in general. Like, more recently, because of how popular they've been, he's just been reviewing episodes of The Bachelor, and it's so funny. Just because, like, there was this one creepy guy on The Bachelor that he just gave a lot of shit to, and then he got kicked off the show. And I don't know, he just makes a lot of entertaining and informative content, and a lot of it's just taking the piss as well. But yeah, Friendly Geordies is a really good YouTuber, so...
Nice.
Yeah. Check him out.
Good stuff.
If we ever do a political episode, I'll go further into why the Liberal Party sucks ass, but I don't think we'll do that. This isn't the type of place for a political discussion.
I know jack fucking shit about any politics. Like, I know some stuff about American politics, but when it comes down to it, I'm so uneducated, and I just do not give a shit. I don't care. The only thing I know is that Donald Trump says some stupid shit, and I think it's funny. Really, like, that's about all I know. That's about as far as I got as far as politics go. Like, there are some things, but like, obviously, I think a lot of politics, especially in America, comes, like, people will say things thinking they're educated when they're actually not. Like, they need to take the time and do some research, but I don't do that. So therefore, I decide to keep my opinions to myself, because I don't know if my opinions are educated enough to be considered valid. You know,
I'm only after a bit of research, I'm a little bit more confident with my view of fuck the Liberals. But yeah, I do admit though, like, I probably should, in all honesty, keep it to myself. But it is a lot about what Friendly Geordie talks about. And a lot of it is just informative, interesting, and I think that there's a lot of prominence in what he says because of how long he studied the political society in Australia, and also the fact that everything he says he backs up with pure evidence. He actually brings up evidence for every one of his claims. So there you go.
And that's another thing that's bad in America is people like to just dispute statistics and facts and all this other stuff. And it's done on both sides. Like, obviously, American conservatives like to dispel climate change, even though it's backed up by science. And on the same thing, American liberals like to just, they kind of like throw away stuff when it comes to the economy. But But yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not educated enough to throw out my political opinions because, again, I don't know if they're correct. Like, that, there's not a correct political opinion, but like, I don't feel educated enough to throw my opinions out. So, and I don't think I will be probably within the next 10 years. Probably until I have nothing better to do with my life will I be educated on politics. And right now I have
Become the next Steven Crowder in the next 10 years.
And because I have something better to do with my life, hopefully within the next 10 years, like graduate college and all this shit, I hopefully won't be educated until I'm around 35, 40. So yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah.
The last thing I'll say is if Clive Palmer got into government, then literally heading some of the three biggest countries would have all been three fat guys in suits with shit blonde haircuts. If Clive Palmer got in, that Donald Trump, Boris Johnson, and Clive Palmer is the unholy trinity of fat guys, shit blonde haircuts. So there you go. Anyway, moving along away from this political tangent.
So I'm gonna cover these next two very, very briefly because I don't feel like I need to say too much about them. But yeah, they're kind of in the same vein. Jared Dines and Steve Terberry. They're both musicians. They do music-based comedy. So a lot of it, Steve Terberry, I think, is the one you'll probably find more funny, even if you don't understand music, or like just band dynamics. Jared Dines does a lot of comedy videos based on like rock band dynamics. Like he does videos such as things a vocalist would never say, or things a bassist would never say, or things bassists say in the studio, things guitarists say in the studio. It's all funny, but you have to like understand like just general music terminology as well as like the general dynamic in your everyday like rock band. So but yeah, he's really funny. Also, Jared Dines might be one of my favorite like pure musicians out there. He wrote 2 EPs a couple of years back called The Light and the Dark, which are, and I don't listen to death metal very much, or even melodic metalcore, which is what The Light is, but death metal, The Dark is death metal, basically, and it's actually great. Like, I was very caught off guard, but because I've been a fan of Jared's for a long time, and he's working on his new full album, which is in the same vein as those two, but he's such a good composer, and the way he writes his guitars, I aspire to write like that. Like, the creativity with which he writes his riffs, and he might be my favorite guitar soloist ever, like the way he writes his solos, all of it. Jared's fantastic. And then Steve Terberry, he has his very own, very specific brand of humor. And you have to kind of, I can't really explain it to you. You have to watch it to understand. But it is funny. But people often take him way too seriously. And if you take him too seriously, you will get offended. So, he's not. He doesn't mean anything like that. Like his very own specific brand of humor. And the things he's been doing recently are very good. Like he'll some of my favorite stuff he's done recently is called like Shredemption, which Steve Terberry he can shred for days. His talent with a guitar is incredible. But he'll take these piss poor solos. Like there was one of my favorites was from Fred Durst, actually, of all people, part of Limp Bizkit. So he apparently did an absolute bomb of a solo, and I'm not talking about the good kind of bomb. I'm talking about the shitty kind of bomb. He did that, and it was miserable. And the first part of it is Steve's reaction to it. And then after that, he takes the solo and does his own thing with it. It's hard to explain, but he's really, really funny. Like I said, he has his very own brand of humor, and it's very specific. Like you have to go in with an open mind, basically. Otherwise, you're gonna think it's weird or something. But he's very, very funny. And one of his old videos that kind of has become notorious is like something, I can't remember the exact title, but it's a power, like how to write a power metal song or something like that, and he uses a generator, an online generator, and it's hilarious. Like if you just scroll through his videos, you're bound to find something that's like, what the fuck is this? I want to watch it. Like you're just gonna want to watch it out of morbid curiosity, if nothing else. So it's like how to play guitar like Madonna, and it's like just some he just has some absolutely hilarious stuff. So just if you ever like want to see some music based stuff by a very talented guitarist, Steve Terberry is a great shout. But yeah, like I said, you do have to go in with an open mind, otherwise his brand of humor is going to catch you off guard. So yeah, that's about it for that one.
All right, nice. Well, how many do you have left?
I have 2.
Same here. Let's cover our 2 individuals. Here we go. All right. These 2 are the big YouTubers. I'm sure everyone would have at least heard of these guys, or if not, watched them. The first one is Jax Films. Jax Films. Yeah, he's been in the game for fucking ages, and most of his content is it's sarcastic, it's all fantastic, and I do admit he blew up with Your Grammar Sucks, which is not really interesting to me, but his guy videos, his old skit videos, his songs, all of it is just fantastic, hilarious shit, and kind of briefly influenced, I think it was either early 2017 or early 2018, I did mostly skits for a little while, and probably thanks to Jax Films, I can contribute all that to him. Just because I thought, fuck it, I can do skits, and some of them actually blew up. One of my skits for Australia Day, because you know how you got Axe body spray.
Yeah.
Over here, it's Lynx, and they released a special Lynx Australia just for as an Australian Day thing. And literally, I did like a 20-second clip where I was just like, Lynx Australia, can this turn me Australian? I just sprayed it all over myself with heaps of jump cuts, and then all of a sudden I come back with a backwards cap, shades, and a beer. And then I'm like, fuck yeah, it does! And then I scull the beer and smash it on my head. And that shit, a few Australian Instagram, like, they're Australian-based comedy Instagram pages, like, all shared it, and it blew up. And I was like, oh, that's fucking great. But I can contribute Jax Films for the idea of skits and that. Like, a lot of his skits kind of just made it funny.
He does seem like a really cool guy.
Yeah, and I feel like he would be nice to just sit down and whereas you could have like an intellectual conversation with Matt Pat, Jax Films just seems like the guy you could just sit and just talk about fucking anything with. You could just shoot the shit and have a nice conversation. We're open to interview you, Jax Films, if you want to come into the FireStorm Podcast.
Send us a DM. Anyway. Please.
DMs are open.
Please.
And next, I think I've mentioned him.
I'll go. I'll go if we want to alternate.
I'll do my last one. Finish.
Okay.
Fuck it, and then you do your last 2. But yeah, I mentioned this next guy in our YouTube videos when we were explaining how we got onto YouTube. Markiplier. Markiplier has been a huge influence and a huge source of entertainment for years. Back when I first got onto YouTube, it was him and Yami Mash and a few others, and Markiplier has just kind of stuck in throughout all of it. Like, I prefer him over PewDiePie, although PewDiePie is still hilarious, but Markiplier just creates a lot more interesting content and hilarious stuff, and all of his big projects, like A Date with Markiplier, A Heist with Markiplier,
A Heist with Markiplier was really good.
They're so well built,
yeah,
and so comedic and so fucking entertaining. Like, I missed out on the opportunity when he was doing his live comedy thing. He came to Australia. I missed it. I just didn't have much money at the time, but and also I was going to see Skillet and Fozzie around the same time because I already had tickets for him, so I didn't have the money to afford to see Markiplier, which sucked. But I heard good things, and yeah, he just seems Dude, like, out of everyone we've mentioned, I would love to just have a sit-down conversation with Markiplier. He's busy all the time, always working on projects, always making videos, and a lot of his group videos with his friends like Bob and Wade, they're always great, and whenever Jacksepticeye or anyone joins him, like, it's always interesting, hilarious content, and he's got a good outlook on life, and he's got a good outlook on just stuff in general, and he always supports his community. Like one of his most recent videos was when he broke down a heist with Markiplier in a live stream, and he allowed people in the live stream in the comments to choose which way he goes for different options, and they had to vote with different emojis, different colored emojis. But there was this bug in the YouTube algorithm where it found those people that were just spamming emojis, and it basically deleted their channels almost, because they reported them, like the automatic system reported them for spam. And even though this is a heist with Markiplier was a YouTube original series, like supported and backed by YouTube, Markiplier called them out, and he's just like, this is my community that you're fucking deleting channels for no good reason. Like, this isn't some of them weren't even properly spamming. Like, it didn't make sense. He always supports his community because they've supported him, and the problem was fixed, and YouTube isn't against him. He's been in most YouTube rewinds every year, so clearly he has a good working relationship with YouTube. But he's just such a chill, awesome dude. He makes such great content, and he's just been a huge influence. Like, as long as Little Karibo and stuff like that, a lot of these channels, like a lot of these channels I've found more recently, but Markiplier, Little Karibo, they've been with me for years, and that some of the main reasons I got onto YouTube, and so thanks to him mainly. So there you go. There you go. That's everything I have to talk about. I'll let you finish it off, guys.
Okay, so my next one, specific one, and this will be my last specific one, is iDubbbz, actually. He has, again, very, very specific brand of humor.
Shit.
Very specific brand of humor, but unlike most people, I actually didn't get introduced to him thanks to Content Cop, but I did get introduced to him around the time when he was doing a lot of the popular Content Cops. I got introduced to him thanks to his Bad Unboxing series, which are some of my favorite videos on the internet. Just, it's so funny. Like, the amount of wit he has, it's basically just like hanging out and just saying random shit, and like he opens these things and he's actually gotten actual shit in the mail before. And it's insane. Like, just compare his room from before he does an unboxing to after he does one. It's fantastic. Like, it's how can you not like it?
Fucking mental.
It's like, amazing.
iDubbbz, I will admit, a lot of his humor does go over my head, but I love a lot of his Content Cops, like in the same vein as like Lewis Spears or anything like that, where they just call things out.
Yeah,
he has a very good sense of humor, and he's very informative, and he's fucking hilarious. A lot of his comedy does go over my head, but iDubbbz is a fucking hilarious guy.
Yeah, the thing is, he is actually incredibly intelligent, and he doesn't let it on very much. So I feel like. And that's kind of where I am, right? Like, I say a lot of stupid shit, and I mean a lot of stupid shit, but I'm actually, like, not dumb, you know? And I feel like
we come across as fucking dumb and mental.
Yes.
But in reality, if you sit down and have a conversation with us, just a nice, proper, formal conversation, I'm sure we'll come across, like, people think I'm in my early 30s because of how, like, of my proper formal conversation.
Well, people still think I'm 14.
But then when they hear I'm only just 20, they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Jesus.
People
mental.
Still think I'm 14. It's fine. But
love it.
But yeah, so it's like, I just love just going through his videos, like his absolutely dry humor. Sometimes he's like, oh hell yeah, it's just so good. And obviously the I'm gay, just fantastic.
It's fucked up. What I would have savor it.
No, I'm talking about the original I'm gay.
No, the original I'm gay.
That's so good. Christ. It's just so rich. Like, he's like, just drop down and say some fucking gay shit. And he just drops, I'm gay.
Say some fucking gay shit. Okay,
I'm gay. It's just like I still burst like randomly. I'll just be like, I'm gay, and there's no context, and people around me will look at me like I'm retarded. And it's because I am. But it's so good. It's just and his content cops are very enjoyable because you do get to see him rant about these people who are being assholes or whatever, being shitty content creators, and they're all funny. Like, it's actually entertaining to watch him sit there and talk for 20 minutes on end. You know, it's like, and the creativity with all the skits and stuff that he does, it's so good. So yeah, I love watching iDubbbz videos for the most, pretty, like, just overall. And he's been doing some more relaxed stuff recently, but he has said Content Cop is coming back in the near future, so that's something to look forward to. So yeah, and that's pretty much my last. I don't feel like I need to say too much more about that. That's my last specific YouTuber I want to call out. But actually, probably the most recent thing I've been getting into when it comes to content creators, and now I'm kind of branching off into also Twitch now, though most of them do have YouTube channels, is speedrunning. I've actually, starting in the summer, this kind of started in the summer, but it's only recently kind of become a regular thing for me. And I say recently, I mean within like the past couple weeks. It started with SGDQ 2019, and I've always known about the GDQ events, and I would just kind of, like, sometimes I would usually miss them, but the GDQ events are really cool because it's just, they gather together at a convention, they get a bunch of speedrunners that all apply for positions there with a bunch of different games, and the amount of variety in the games that they have at GDQ are fantastic, but it's all charity events, so people will sit there, like, you know, you'll have like 50,000 people on the Twitch stream watching at any given time, like, and they'll, you know, you'll donate, people will donate to a certain charity. They like to do Doctors Without Borders. It's also the most recent one, GDQX, was, I can't remember the exact name of the charity, but it's it was one that helped benefit disabled gamers, which is really cool. So nice. It's just, and speedrunning, I've actually followed a lot of people that I've found thanks to GDQ, who are really, really cool, and just the people in general, and people like that I would want to watch. But yeah, like, the amount of talent and cool hidden tricks you can find in games that you think you're familiar with is astounding. And, you know, obviously the older the game, the more kind of glitches and weird shit you're gonna find. But even, like, I just recently watched a run of Pokemon Let's Go. Pokemon, he beat the game in, you know, all 8 badges and everything in less than 3.5 hours. Ridiculous. And
that's mental.
So it's just so cool to see the kind of strategies they'll take running through the games. Another recent one that I liked was a Pokemon White 2 run that was done in about 3.5 hours. Pulse Effects did that one, and the other one, the Let's Go run, was done by Etiquette. Probably the first one that really started this was actually a Majora's Mask run by a guy named Majin Phil. Was an absolutely fun time. It was 5 hours. I was, like, just paying attention the whole time. There's not a lot of videos that are fucking 5 hours long where I'm paying attention the entire time, but the strats in Majora's Mask are fantastic. So I was watching throughout that entire run, and I actually watched that live over the summer at SGDQ, and it was on from like fucking 1 a.m. to fucking 6 a.m. in the morning. I was sitting there watching the entire fucking time. I didn't even go to sleep. It's just great. And actually, right after that, and I mentioned this earlier, was the Breath of the Wild any percent speed run. It was, so the Majora's Mask run was a 100% run, but the any percent Breath of the Wild run, the thing about Breath of the Wild is you don't actually have to go, you basically just have to do, I mean, if you're playing the game casually, you have to do about an hour or two of gameplay before you can theoretically, and not really theoretically, but actually go and take on the final boss if you want to. You pretty much, you can. Like, there's nothing stopping you. You don't actually have to go and do any of the other parts of the story. You can go straight to the final boss. But Breath of the Wild has, like, even though it's a fairly new game, just over 2 years old, or 2.5 years old at this point, I guess, it's like, there's so many manipulations that people have found. One of the most ridiculous ones is the bullet time bounce. I can't explain it because I have no idea what it is. But basically, you shield surf and you bounce off an enemy and you get fucking launched across the map. It's ridiculous. So like I said, the Breath of the Wild animated speedrun by Terminal Montage is actually incredibly accurate. The Breath of the Wild 80% speedrun took just over 30 minutes. And you know how long it took me to beat Breath of the Wild? Probably a solid 30 hours, at least. So, yeah, if they ran through that game in 30 minutes, and the world record is way less than that, probably like closer to 27, 28 minutes. So, it's ridiculous. I love watching speedruns. I prefer the longer ones just because I can have them sitting there while I'm working. Usually I'll have them sitting there while I'm writing lyrics or working on an instrumental or whatever. Even sometimes while I'm doing homework for school. It's just like I said, like Game Grumps, it's a very casual watch, but sometimes I find myself distracted because I'm like, whoa, this is so
what
cool.
The shit's going on?
And I am really enjoying speedruns. It's just so fascinating. It's so fascinating to just watch the different strategies. And the strats they use for Pokemon games are especially interesting. Because usually they only have one Pokemon. And, or like at least one and then maybe like one other for backup or something in case the main one dies and they can use Revive while the other one takes a hit. But, it's so cool. Like and it's usually not Pokemon you would expect either, because in the Let's Go run, the main was a Starmie. Like they took out the entire Elite Four and Champion with just a fucking Starmie and a couple X specials.
Fuck.
Yeah. With the entire Elite Four with a couple X specials and a Starmie with Thunderbolt and Scald.
I'm a dumb motherfucker in Pokemon. I've never used those X items. I'm a dumb motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, it's like, it's never Pokemon you'd expect. I'm trying to remember the main in White 2. It was an Excadrill. So it's usually not Pokemon you expect, and there's a lot of manipulation, especially in the White 2. They actually did a manipulation for perfect IVs and stuff. It's just so fascinating to watch. So, and they always, especially at GDQ, and I like to watch the GDQ runs because they explain everything they're doing. If you would just watch them on Twitch, they don't really do that. But if they're GDQ, they obviously have a lot of unfamiliar audiences, like me. I don't know what's going on. So they have, a lot of times the runners will have a back couch where it's a bunch of, like, some of their friends that run the same game or whatever, or are familiar with the run. So they'll explain what's going on, and I'm like, whoa, this is so fucking cool. And it's so, yeah, I love speedruns. What can I say? That's one of the things I've been watching a lot on YouTube recently. It's just, I just can't stop. It's so fucking cool. That's all I can say.
Very nice. Alright, is that all we have to cover today?
Yeah, that's it.
Alright, awesome. And we've been going for a fairly good lengthy, this is a good meaty lengthy episode. We hope from this episode of the FireStorm Podcast that you have heard and perhaps searched up some of these creators we are talking about. They are all much bigger than us. They are all our favourite content creators. Perhaps we could do an episode in the future talking about the smaller creators. We don't know. We might.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see what happens. We've got a good list here of the next coming episodes, and we are going to stick to that fairly well. And but we thank you for joining us for this episode of the FireStorm Podcast. And don't forget, if you want to interact with us or talk with us, feel free to send us a message or a tweet or anything from Facebook and Twitter at FireStormPod. Even though no one emailed.
If your tweet doesn't have hashtag penis in it, we're not responding.
Well, we won't respond with the official we won't respond with the official FireStorm Podcast Twitter account if you don't use the hashtag penis. Actually, or whatever the hashtag is for the most recent episode. Anyway, and also, even though no one emails anymore, feel free to email us ideas for future episodes. You can't email us. Or
we
stuff
will
like
see
that.
It. And, believe it or not.
Yeah, I know, right? Jeez. We will actually view the emails. We're actually, we pay attention. But, yeah, firestormproductions2@gmail.com. If you got any ideas for episodes or topics or stuff like that, or questions even, feel free.
Please do send us ideas, because we will run out eventually.
We will run out eventually. We've got we've got enough to hold us out.
We have a good list now.
We've got enough to hold us out to the
out.
new year, but that's about it. So we'll figure it out from there. But
we'll probably get through a couple months into the new year, maybe.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll have some more ideas by then as well.
Yes. Hopefully we'll. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening, and have a good one, guys.
Bye.